I'm here with Bruno's shirt. Interview.
Hey, I'm also here.
I just couldn't see you or hear you over the shirt.
Yeah. Do you want me to take it off?
Sure, if you want to.
Maybe later.
Don't know if we can censor out all that hair.
That's gonna be tough.
How have you been? You've been doing the multicast stream.
I've been doing the multicast.
You're a star.
I am a star behind the scenes, which is a really different and cool thing to do. It's almost over right now. All I have to do is by the end of last game, go and say, thank you everybody, you're fucking awesome, and just keep on with my life. But other than that, it's been quite a ride that I enjoyed a lot.
And your thoughts on what's happened thus far in the tournament?
Okay, so a lot of people that I know that are involved in the scene in some way or another, we kind of made a lot of predictions coming into the tournament. And I think the first day was a little bit surprising with Navi US being up there and Liquid as well. The only outlier that ended up happening by the end of last day was Liquid. I honestly didn't count them as top 10. I have the phone as well. I didn't count as top 10. I thought they were going to be like 11th, 12th. They're doing really, really well. And of course, the surprise was Alliance not coming out. But all in all, a really expected tournament other than that.
Okay. And who's your pick to win? Give me your winner right now, if you had to pick one.
Wow. I still say DK.
DK.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you had to pick a surprise in the next couple rounds, who would you pick?
Does Vici Gaming still count as a surprise?
No, not anymore.
Okay. Well, then Liquid.
Really? You think they're going to win their best of 3?
Well, you have to pick a surprise, no?
Yeah, who do you think? What's going to be a surprising result? You can say, I think EG loses.
Liquid winning would be a surprising result. That's not meaning that I think they're going to win. You asked me for a surprising result.
Give me what you think will be a surprising result. What will happen? Predict a bold result.
Okay, something predictable, but that is not entirely sure, is Cloud9 winning. Okay. Cloud9 is a team that, you know, when you predict all the matchups, and like, we were doing predictions for today, trying to figure out what was going to happen in terms of if there was going to be any tiebreaker. And whenever I had to see a Cloud9 game, instead of thinking like, are they going to win or lose, I just flipped the coin. And I went with the coin result, because you never know. They win versus the best, lose versus the worst. They're really unpredictable, but they can ride on that and get to the finals and win. And
other than that, what are the storylines? Give me some interesting stories about this TI. What's a big story other than you know, maybe Liquid doing a little bit better, Alliance losing?
Here's a story, or quite a few actually. I think coming into this tournament, people were kind of counting Navi out. And they're the best seeded European team. If we don't really count Cloud9 as European, because they're half European, half US, or North America, they could potentially be the only true European team in the top 8.
Europe?
Yeah.
What's going on with Europe?
Not doing well. Fnatic out, Alliance out, Empire out, Mouseport could be out. North America, on the other hand, Liquid in, doing really well. EG, potential content.
So 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah. And Europe 1.5.
Yes.
C1.
C1. And China 3.5, 4.5. It's Vici, DK.
There's no half.
No, yeah, because they're, well, now the thing is that Newbie, LGD, they could be in or could be out.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
So it could be potentially Newbie, LGD, Vici, DK, and IG. Could be potentially all the 5.
And what's the most boring final? Let's go with the most boring final and most exciting final.
I think the most boring final would be something like
IG Vici.
IG Vici or IG DK. I think Vici is actually
LGD. No, we can't pick those guys though.
Yeah, I think
Vici, IG.
Don't get me wrong. When I say a boring final, it's. Did you see the game? It was Vici IG that was 16 minutes on the first blood, and then it was over just like 2 minutes after that.
Well, I don't mean boring. I mean
boring in terms of like
compared to like the rest of like.
The thing is, because of how they play, those teams could be more passive, and also let's be fair. I mean, the English audience being mostly based in Europe and North America, they wouldn't care as much as for DKIG.
So give me your dream final. First, #1 dream final.
#1 dream final has to be EG Navi.
EG Navi.
EG Navi. Navi is a historic team. I mean, every single time we count them out, they're like, there's no way Navi this time can do. They did it in TI1 because they were the only good team. They did it at TI2 because they rode like a couple good results. They did it at TI3 because KYXY Deny and Tongfu Fountain Hooks. TI4, if they get there again, again, we're running out of excuses to count them out, right? And EG, they're like the great hope, Arteezy, and I think there's a lot of media focus around the team. A lot of people there, like, they're very likable and they're very relatable. And NA Dota really desperately needs someone to cling on. And I think EG, this is the year to shine.
Okay, and give me your second dream final.
Okay. Wait, let me go back to the teams. We have C9. Actually, C9 EG would be fun. C9 EG would be fun because
Eternal Envy.
Eternal Envy and
the anime ending.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing. Like Cloud9, if they get a win because of, I mean, all the controversy around Eternal Envy, like you love him or you hate him, Sing Sing being quite a fan favorite, pretty much all of the guys. Pilot that has not been having good tournaments recently, so if he's stepping up his game, so it'll be kind of a vindication for him and pretty much everyone else. There's a lot to be said about that team. And again, Eternal Envy and Arteezy, they're really good friends that they don't want to talk between each other because they don't want to share strats. So it kind of would be a really nice way to put them together once again. It's like, okay, who's the teacher and who's the student here, right?
Right, okay. All right, we switch gears. There's also another final coming up that you're very interested in.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
It's called the World Cup Finals.
And that's for some other sport, not Dota?
It's a sport that essentially you're kicking the ball.
Okay, got it.
So with your feet. So it's
weird.
Football. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like you use your foot. So it's a.
Of course, it's that. What else would it be?
What else would it be called, right? So, and every 4 years, this guy do something kind of like the international, but not as cool. But they get countries instead of teams.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why, right? Like.
Yeah. So you're cheering for your own country.
I guess, yeah.
And you guys made the final.
We got to the final for the first time since 1990. We had the chance to win it for the first time since 1986.
And you guys have the best player.
We do have the best player, but they have the best offense.
Yeah, but you're playing against the Germans.
Okay. You're American. Do you watch basketball?
Yes.
Okay, so this would be like Germany is the Heat. Right?
The Heat?
Germany is the Heat. They
have the best player.
Well, the Heat have the best player. Okay, Germany is Oklahoma City Thunder. They have really great offense. They have Durant. They have Russell Westbrook. They have all these kind of.
Good analogy. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Argentina is.
Argentina's Cleveland with the Heat.
Yeah, it's the old Cleveland with LeBron.
Okay, got it.
It's the old Cleveland with LeBron, right?
The new Cleveland has LeBron too.
Wait, has he signed to Cleveland yet? When did that happen?
Yesterday.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah.
Wow. You're not trolling me?
I'm not. He went back to Cleveland yesterday or the day before, I forget. But he wrote a whole thing. It was released on Sports Illustrated. He's going to Cleveland. It's crazy.
Wow, well, I guess there you have it. Yeah. It's Cleveland versus Thunder.
I want to talk about that for a second because I don't know if you follow the NBA, but that is a crazy story.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
I don't know. Cleveland's roster is pretty good. They got a lot of first-round picks. Yeah. They got young guys. Kyrie Irving is very good. They got Andrew Wiggins. So we'll see.
Here's the thing. It really reminds me of Cleveland of 2003 when they picked LeBron. It was like, okay, we have a lot of young potential in the roster, and they took them 2007 to get to the first finals, and they were destroyed by the Spurs. Yeah. It was 4-0 a sweep. It was like horrible. Well, and it feels like it's kind of like that again now.
Well, I'd say it like this: Cleveland is a city that has lost population since the 1950s. Yeah. They're in the decline. All their citizens have a kind of insecurity about their city being terrible and sports losing. And then this guy, he grows up in Cleveland, in Akron. He grows up in Ohio. Right. He gets drafted by Cleveland. He's the best player in the world. Yes. And after a couple years, they give him just devotion. They love him. Yep. And then he decides that they're not good enough and he leaves.
Good decision.
Yeah. And then in the most terrible way possible. Yes. That can't be good for their self-esteem. And now he's coming back. And they're like, he loves us again, you know? Yeah. And he wrote this really nice thing about how he always knew he was going to come back, and like he can't imagine not raising his kids in Cleveland and all this stuff.
But I mean, that is love, right? Like you find this super hot girl. This is beautiful girl.
This is what it is. This is a high school relationship.
Yes.
And LeBron went to college. Yeah. And he was the party guy in college, most popular guy. Yeah. But then he realizes that he's not that guy, and he comes back to his high school sweetheart, and she forgives him.
Yeah, but you know, like that's the other problem. When you come back to your high school sweetheart, you're like, okay, you remember all the nice things, and then you start talking, and you know that you drift apart.
I don't know. There's a romantic comedy ending, and then there's the Bruno realistic ending.
Right. I mean, how long can you ride on memories? You have to create new ones, and creating new ones is really hard when you're now like a superstar, and your high school sweetheart is still Cleveland. I mean, it's not Pittsburgh, but it's
Well, the high school sweetheart of this tournament is Alliance.
It is.
And people are sad, but hey, the world moves fast in Dota. So, you know, you saw Alliance day 1, day 2. I mean, let's be honest here. They weren't going to win the tournament, even if they made it into the top 10. Like, the way they were playing, you could see that they had to struggle for every little bit.
Yeah.
And you know, if they managed to like get really far, then that's superhuman almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
you can see it from the teams that are playing well here that they're just gonna do well, right?
Yeah, and that was not the case with Alliance. They tried some different stuff. Didn't seem to connect with them. It wasn't as much that other teams had figured it out, but it just didn't feel it was their game. It didn't feel it was their time. Sometimes you come with something very revolutionary. I mean, you saw the last 2 games they played. They won 1, they lost 1. They went full, what they call rat Dota.
Almost BDG.
Almost BDG with that,
you know?
and they actually beat Navi with that. And they put Navi in this position where it's horrible to be in, which is I can't win, but I can
to fight. Yeah.
Like maybe not lose for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's when the Naga gets Radiance and you can't break high ground, and she's split pushing you, and you're just like, my God, we're gonna lose in 40 minutes.
Yes.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
There's nothing we can do. We can only pray and hope.
Yeah, and just hopefully they screw up.
Yeah.
And they didn't screw up.
They didn't screw up, and that worked out very well for them at TI3, but this year, against certain lineups, you cannot do that.
Yeah. And I think they figured out a little something at the end, but too little too late.
Yeah, I think it's also kind of the same story that happened with day 1 with other teams. So for example, Navi US, they had a huge advantage day 1, and even Liquid as well, which they could keep, which were teams, they had to prepare for 15 teams. So if you're going to prepare, you prepare against IG, against Alliance, against Navi. You don't prepare against Navi US. So you don't do much research. So when you fight them, they're like, oh, well, we don't really know what they're doing, so we might lose. But then after day 1, people look at them, they figure them out, they win. With Alliance, it's kind of like the opposite. Everyone's kind of respecting Alliance. And by the end, they were like, well, they're not really as strong. So maybe teams were not playing their full potential or being really, really scared of them. And that allowed Alliance to maybe come back because they still have something of it.
Yeah. Well, you know, like this TI is the most competitive there's been, and every TI winner has not been able to repeat. Not even close, actually.
Yeah. I mean, well, Navi has been close to repeat.
Well, sorry, other than Navi.
Yeah.
Navi always close to repeating, right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
But you know, IG won, TI2 didn't even get top. What were they? Top 6?
I think they were top 6. Yeah.
Top 6, so not very close.
Yeah.
Then Alliance won, and they didn't even make the playoff stage. This year's winner not looking good for TI5.
That's what they have to worry about, because if you think about it, right?
And especially this year's winner, you got $1 million.
No, here's the
Do
thing.
you even care about the next year?
Look at this growth, right? Because I mean, I come from a math background, so Tier 1
$50 million next year.
Tier 1 1.6, TI2 1.6, Tier 3 2.8, TI4 2.4. Yeah, sorry. Or 2.8. 2.8.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry. You can't get me. 2.8. Almost 11. 120.
120. That's your prediction. 120. Okay.
You look at the graph and it's going that way.
I think 20. I think 20.
That would be I would believe that.
No way it goes 4 times like it did last year.
Imagine, here's the thing, right? Like, let's look at the economy of things for a little bit. Last year you had to buy a compendium. If you liked it, you could buy one to your friend, and that was all you could do. This year you could buy as many points as you wanted, and pretty much what limited you in terms of like, okay, I don't need to buy anything more, was to get
immortal items.
Yeah, immortal items, get it to level 100.
Yeah.
How many immortal? I think there were like 10 immortal items, more or less, around that.
Some of them were really cool.
Some of them were really
cool. Like the lion one. Change the guy into a fish. The tinker one.
Yeah. If you make instead of 10, 30.
You make 30 immortal items.
There's no reason.
30 immortal items? You think they're
30
going to make 30?
items. I mean...
Jeez.
You look
How many... There's a too many items at some point. There's a point where there's too many items, right?
I mean, there has to be a point.
Like, there's an EV minus point of where I literally can't play a hero enough to make it worth buying an item.
No, see, that's where I disagree. Because people don't... This is not... You saying there's enough items, or there's a point where there's too many items, it's like telling a girl you have way too many shoes.
Well, it's like this.
No, it is. Is there a point there's too many shoes?
I get you. But let's say I play Tinker once a month.
Right.
And I have 10 boots of travel, and they're all different.
Yeah.
Am I going to buy the 11th one?
Yes.
Why? I think so.
Okay, you go to Versace, you go to Armani, and they have something which is called the season, and then you have a lot of new suits, and then you have a lot of new pants. Why do you buy the new one? Just because you want to show your social status to the people that you have new
got
one.
it. Okay, so if they just got to keep, but there's a power creep for all the new items. It's got to be cooler and cooler and cooler.
If that was the case, the fashion industry wouldn't exist anymore. The fashion industry has existed for
the fashion industry.
Years.
The fashion industry exists in a cycle of like what's cool and in, and you want to be like that. But right. Dota is like all the new items have cooler effects than the previous ones.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And eventually, you got to get to a point where you can't have these crazy, like I remember when the Lone Druid Panda came out.
Yeah.
And that was like a huge deal. Now just changing the bear is like whatever, you know?
Right, it's just one more bear.
Yeah. So you got to reach a point where there's, I mean, what are you going to make
I see what you mean, but at the same time, there's so many different axes where you can scale.
Okay.
So if you stop going in one direction, you can always go in another.
Yeah, it might not finish until 2025 or something.
Right, or something like that.
It might be Dota 3 at that point. I have no idea.
No, not 3, 4.
Dota 4.
We skipped 3.
Oh, right. Got it. Okay, I should have seen that one coming. Okay, what do you just like after this? After the day is done, you just go to sleep? Are you tired after doing all your stuff?
I'm tired.
So we're gonna have some break days. We can hang out on the break days.
We can hang out, we can chill. Normally these days I've been finishing here around 10, 11, meaning I just went to the bar, get some something to drink with a friend, then go back to sleep. Because the next day I have to wake up at around 7, be here about an hour before, and just make sure that everything's going okay. So these 4 days were really, really crazy for me. But as you said, I don't have anything to do during the bubble race stage. And then there's, I think, 3 free days until the main event, and I will be back at the main event. Okay. And you will actually be able to see my face there.
Just like we're seeing your face here. Well, not really. We're seeing your shirt.
Yes, exactly.
And your face is somewhere behind this shirt.
I'm hiding. I just pity that poor camera.
Did you get sponsored by Razer or something? What is this?
I actually...
what is this shirt?
Yeah, at some point, I just jokingly, because I had some Razer Monster stickers, I put the Monster logo in it, and the green of the Monster logo is exactly the same green as this.
You got to put a black Monster logo on it.
Yeah, I think maybe. I don't know.
All right. Well, the dream is dead for Alex Garfield. He can't have a EG Alliance finals. But now he doesn't have a conflict of interest. He can just root for his one team that's still.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and 5 million is still 5 million a possibility. If you think about the difference between winning and getting second place, the difference is about 25%. So in the grand scheme of things, it just doesn't change as much.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Let's do your shout-outs and call-outs.
Shout-outs and call-outs. I want to give a huge shout-out to, I unfortunately cannot name them, but everyone that was in the production room.
Yeah, all
especially
those.
IceFrog.
So you know what he looks like?
Yeah, I mean, like, who do you think? It was IceFrog and me during the whole...
Oh my God, I'm so jealous of you.
You know how Ogre Magic has 2 heads? Well, it's kind of like us, right?
So when you say IceFrog and me, do you just mean me?
Well, I mean, would Ogre Magic talk about his other head as a he?
Okay, maybe not. I don't know. You're blowing my brain here.
But yeah, everyone there has been doing a really, really amazing work. I literally all I had to do was pick up the mic when something's happening, which, granted, it's harder than I expected it to be, because you're like, okay, there's a team fight on Dota 4, you have to go. Dota 4 is like the camera's one. It's not Dota 4, the game. There's no Dota 4. There's no Half-Life 3. Okay. So yeah, like it's Mousepros versus IG, and something happened. Just pick up the mic and say something. So I had to go, and now we go to Mousepros versus IG, where the fight is about to happen. Maybe try and make some jokes. As sleep deprivation went on, the jokes became.
I like them. They're like dad jokes. They're really cheesy.
Yeah. That's
like the point of them is supposed to be they're bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you think too much about the joke, you're not watching the match.
Yeah, okay.
So it was really fun to do.
Okay. And call out. Give me a call out.
Call out. Why would I be? What do you mean by call out? I mean, I'm calling someone out. It's just like pointing out someone's mistake. That's what I.
No, you gotta give me a call out. Like who do you want to call out? So someone, I don't know.
Well, okay, again, like my interpretation of call out is something negative.
Yeah, it's something negative.
Why would I want to do something negative?
Don't you have any haters? Don't you want to say something?
I don't have any haters.
Someone's like, I fucking hate Bruno. He's useless on the panel. And then you're like, what now?
But that's why I'm not on the panel, because I was certainly useless there.
Okay. All right.
No, I don't have
no one?
I honestly don't have anyone that I would.
You have no enemies.
I have no enemies.
Some guy is like, I'm gonna be his arch enemy right now. They're watching this interview. They're like, I'm gonna get him.
Try. Then I'll invite him for coffee, and maybe he'll be my friend.
Wow, you're too nice. Too nice. Even in pubs, no one flames you?
No.
Okay. Well,
No.
thank you very much.
No, thank you.
And we'll see you at Key Arena.
We'll see you at Key Arena.
Yeah.
And everyone else, hoping to be a part of a great event. And
It's already pretty good.
it can get better.
Definitely.
Wait until you see what I'm wearing.
Okay. I can't wait. Thank you, Bruno.
No problem. Take care.